everybody. How's it going? This is the Brightside with Mikey and Rachel. I'm Mikey.
I'm Rachel. And today we are going to be talking about Lindy Hop, our opinions, and basically whatever else we feel like.
So basically, we're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about because that's what we overdo in this the damn podcast.
Pretty much every time.
Except
every
for that
single
last
time.
part.
How are you? How have you been?
I'm good. I mean, I feel like I just saw you.
That's because you did.
This week
Earlier
went,
this week.
This week went by real fast.
Yeah.
Went to Universal the other day. That was really fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, we went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
And how was it seeing Harry Potter?
It was cool. It was I butterbeer. Did
you have some?
God damn. It's
was
so
it good?
It's so
Did you get the commemorative cup?
No. That thing is stupid.
Oh.
No, I mean I had a cup. I just didn't.
Right,
I didn't
like,
eat it.
sip it out of your
I didn't
hands,
sip it out of
like-
my hands like an
like
animal.
lap it up?
Jeez. Heathens. No, it was really good. It's basically like a root beer float.
Yeah.
But it's a different root beer thing.
It's like butter.
soda.
It tastes like butterscotch.
Oh yeah, I guess so. That's what that thing is. Thanks, helicopter. God, living in the hood. Am I right?
It's like, okay, seriously, like for once, can they just not?
Just right there. Just right there. I just saw it.
I know.
That better be someone going to Kaiser Hospital, or else I'm gonna be upset.
Welcome to my neighborhood. It's super safe here, you guys.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Rachel lives in the hood.
I live in East Hollywood
Yeah.
in Little Armenia.
You live in the funny section, like you said, like your little corner.
Yeah.
Because like right down the street is a taco shop, and then right
Yep.
up the street is like fancy coffee.
Yeah, it's true. And there's like a lot of Thai food.
Yeah,
There's
in
a
the
lot
middle.
Of, there's a lot of old grouchy people in my neighborhood.
Yeah, they're called Armenians.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty grouchy.
They
but it's
leave
cool.
things. They leave things on the side a lot.
Yeah.
Did they ever actually pick? They do pick that up, but then they push more stuff out there, right?
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
so funny.
you know what's funny is every time we need to get rid of
Yeah.
something, I do that. I just like take it outside.
And then
But,
someone
like,
picks it up.
Someone takes it.
Yeah.
Like within like 10 or 15 minutes.
But the funny thing is like it's like more every time I come, it's something different.
Oh, I know.
And I'm like, where are you guys holding
Did
all
you
this
see the
stuff over here?
refrigerator
Yeah,
that's out there right
yeah.
now? Somebody left a refrigerator out there. They taped it all up.
So
and
if anybody
then
needs
somebody tagged it. So there's graffiti all over it. It's not like anybody's going to take it now.
Well, they might. You might see it in the gallery opening at some point.
20 years down
Yeah,
the road.
seriously. Welcome to East Hollywood, y'all.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, how was your week?
It was good.
Oh, I went to visit you at work. That's what I
you
did. That was fun.
The same day you went to Universal. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that
Did you
was
like my
fun.
coffee
I
shop?
did. That coffee. What was it? What a coffee?
The
had?
New Orleans style iced coffee.
Why is it New Orleans style?
Because it has chicory in it.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is.
Chicory-
Chicks? Like, do I have to throw beads at it?
Chicory is a root that they used to roast back, I think it was like back in Civil War times or like World War I, when coffee wasn't prevalent during war times. People would drink chicory because it looked similar to coffee.
So I didn't drink coffee. I drank chicory.
No, there is coffee in it too.
It was trickery.
It's mostly coffee, a little bit of chicory.
Uh-huh.
It's lightly sweetened,
Uh-huh.
and then we add some milk to it. It's basically like a
It was good. It was very tasty.
milky, sweet coffee drink for those people who can't drink the real deal.
I feel like you're talking right at me.
Well, I am looking at you.
I
You
like
know-
coffee. I like coffee. I don't like tea. What we had today, we had brunch today. And,
Yeah, we
and
had
that,
brunch.
That tea was not very good.
The fizzy hoppy tea.
No, but I like the espresso. That was real tasty, and that
The
the other
espresso was
milky
great.
thing.
That was the other shot, the other half of the shot of espresso, shaken over ice
Not stirred.
with a almond macadamia nut milk and cinnamon on top. The drink was called Business and Pleasure. Hello. Praise be, because that drink is glorious.
For those of you who can't see it, because obviously you can't see it as a podcast, Laura, oh my God. Rachel was just putting her hand up and praising it.
Praising the coffee gods.
Let me feel it. I don't know
Hallelujah.
why I just said Laura. That's
Hallelujah.
the fucking weirdest thing I've ever done.
Well, we look the same.
I was
Laura
think-
Keat.
I think it was Laura Keat
We
in
look
my
the
head. I
same.
don't know why. Obviously. All white girls. So.
Heyo.
But that was really fun to see you at work because you were like trying to be professional at first, and then I started like egging you
Oh.
on, and then we started being super loud and weird.
Oh, that's because you only saw me in a very small moment. Today I was dancing at work all day long. My friend had a playlist on. It was like a lot of like 90s R&B and like pop rock stuff. Oh, jamming out all the live long day. Paula Abdul, hello.
Right? I always feel like 90s stuff, like 90s pop and R&B, they always began kind of the same way. It was like a little bit of like talking and then like jump into it. It's like, hey, baby, you know what we're going to do tonight?
Yes.
We're going to rock. Bam, 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 boom. And
You know what else they do is they have a lot of directions. Like
Early
Brian
GPS?
McKnight. Do you remember that song?
Oh, yeah.
One,
Yeah.
fall in love with
That was
you.
90s.
Two,
Was that 90s or was it
make
2000s?
dreams come true. 3, you see that you're the only one for me. And 4, repeat steps. 1, 2, 3.
And then what else? Keep going.
5. I don't know.
I'm almost done.
Make you fall in love with me.
Yeah,
I don't
something
remember.
like that.
I don't remember the rest of the song.
I remember that video because it was real sad. It was a real sad video. I mean, I can't believe you brought that up because that was part of my childhood. Brian McKnight.
Man.
So the video starts out like this. He's walking out of this like field and like walking straight and keeps just walking, and it's him in different like scenery.
Yeah.
And then you find out that he was in a plane crash and his
Oh,
ghost is
no.
walking towards his love.
Oh,
and then like
God.
knocks on the door and no one's there. She opens it up and it's like no one there. She starts like crying or something. Yeah.
That sounds so 90s.
It was so sad, but it wasn't. It was 2000s.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, maybe.
I thought it was like 96.
Maybe I was either in junior high or high school. Either way, I was really there were those the two locations of the schools were real close together. So I always
In time or in location?
In location, because I was like I would always walk to the Taco Bell and that's where my mom would pick me up from school. And so I just remember hearing that.
Sorry, it's just the Taco Bell.
It's next to the Taco Bell.
Oh, you guys, Mikey talks about tacos and Mexican food constantly, and so it's just the fact that he said Taco Bell was.
But I'm not Mexican.
I know, but you love Mexican food.
Wait, you guys saw Narcos, right? Brett did.
Brett
You
did.
didn't. You didn't see it.
I've seen
Is
a
it
couple
too?
episodes.
Is it too? Is it too brown for you?
No, it's just. We watch so much TV. Because Brett works in TV,
Right.
so we're watching all the TV.
So it's really like he's just studying.
He watches TV because it's like his favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And he's like passionate about it, but he's also like watching it so that he knows what's going on in all of these shows because it's important for his job. For me, it's like, it's too overwhelming. Like if it were my way, we probably wouldn't have a TV.
But that's such a nice TV.
I know.
You know what's so funny? We've been talking so much and we haven't even touched on dancing, which is fine with me because that's where my mind is at. My mind is like so overloaded after ILHC and Camp Hollywood.
I know.
I mean, I just needed a break. Like did you end up going out dancing this week?
Yeah, I went to Lindy Groove on Thursday.
Right.
Super chill.
Yeah.
Super quiet.
I think everybody else was kind of like
everybody was like clearly swung over. The energy was like pretty low. Everybody was just like, oh, hey, how's it going?
Just like, I'm
Ding
dancing,
dong.
sort of, like, can barely keep their head up.
And that's how I felt the whole night. I was like, oh, I'm sort of dancing even when I'm dancing.
You know, for me, like, that's always funny. I like, people like us, like, now, especially living here in LA, like, the scene is so big here that I feel like we can't, after weekends like that, where we can just, like, shut down.
Yeah.
But, like, when I go on to, like scene leading and being a part of like running a local dance or running stuff like that, because they just started up Strutters on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So James was like super tired, but he jumped right back into it. Like he said, he was talking about it. Like he couldn't get anybody to help because everybody was swung over.
Yeah.
They were like, I
Everybody's
kind of
tired.
want to do anything about it.
Well, yeah, when they're all volunteers, it's
Yeah.
so hard to be like, please help me for free, please.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
obligated.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the funny thing is every time, like, that made me think about it. And when you told me about your times in Albuquerque as well, like, you can't shut it off. Like, you have to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you, like, for me, one of the things that Shaysha taught me a long time ago was consistency. Do you think that's the same for, like, scene building, scene leading, like having a consistent thing there?
That was probably one of the most important things that we discovered was, so when I first became one of the leaders of the scene, we were running our weekly dance. It was on Saturday nights. And anytime we'd go out of town, we'd be like, oh, we're just going to shut the dance down because we don't want to ask anybody to run it because that's lame.
But also it wouldn't be the same because you guys' energy and plus whatever you provide there, also your dancing ability isn't there.
And at the time, like, a good dance in Albuquerque had like 20 people. A really good dance had 30 people.
It's a wild time.
It was a crazy time. We were party animals. And so we would cancel a dance. But then the next week it'd be like 15 people would show up, 10 people would show up.
Right.
And the scene couldn't really sustain itself. And it wasn't until we started Rhythm, and every Saturday, almost no matter what, we had a dance, that it really helped establish the scene, and the scene could start growing a little bit more.
So would you say before you guys got there, Albuquerque had no rhythm?
Oh, yuck, yuck, yuck.
Sorry, I was holding that in for so long. Go ahead. Sorry.
But I would actually say yes.
Yeah, consistency.
There's a lot to say about what Rhythm did for the scene in Albuquerque, which was the studio that I owned.
Right. That to me is like always such a hard thing, because my role in the scene, while I don't know how to say it, like I've come to like feel like, okay, I'm sort of in charge of like morale. Yeah. Like I don't run any night. I don't run any dance. I don't run any school. I don't have local classes. I help out at Atomic. I help out with Strutters. I DJ every once in a while at different places, or I judge something. But that's just because I haven't chosen to, and also I'm not here long enough. But my role as a scene leader for me is in like kind of the morale. Like it's kind of a joke, but seriously that too. Like it's to go out there and dance with people, and like even try my best to just sort of be a source of information, source of like I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like you had to be that as well? Like or did you just feel like you had to put on a dance?
No, 100%. I was the go-to person for everything. Like it became a situation where like I could say something and it was law.
Oh,
because
nice.
Because people were so new at dancing that they didn't know anything else. They hadn't traveled to other scenes. Mm-hmm. They hadn't even taken classes from many other instructors, because there weren't really any in Albuquerque.
So is this the majority of like beginner new dancers, right?
Yeah.
Come into it with fresh eyes and fresh ears. And fresh minds.
So what happened was, I think it was back in like 2007. The scene was being run by some other people, but people like the leaders started dropping off by one.
Yeah.
There were maybe like 4 or 5 advanced dancers, and they all either moved away or quit dancing for miscellaneous reasons.
Was it also probably a side job for them, like something for them?
It was,
they had other regular jobs.
Yeah, hobby for sure. And I was super new at dancing still. I'd been dancing for like maybe a year and a half or 2 years. And all of a sudden I was stuck with running a dance. And it went pretty terribly.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, obviously, if you got stuck with it, like, how did you get stuck with it?
Well, so this is what happened. Was this guy Rick had been running this dance on Saturday nights at this studio in the neighborhood, and when I say the neighborhood, it was like the university area.
Okay.
Because most of the people in the scene at the time were university students.
Obviously, yeah.
So. He was like somehow affiliated with the university, wherein he was teaching like extended classes. Have you heard of those? Where they're like classes that
you don't get credit for, but like anybody can
anybody
come
in the
into.
community can take them, and they happen off site, but they still are like affiliated through the university.
Right.
So they were doing that, and they didn't go super well. And I think what happened was they were teaching like a bunch of different stuff in 3-week segments. It was a semester-long class, but it was like 3 weeks they would do Lindy Hop, 3 weeks they would do Balboa, 3 weeks they would do Shag. And so no one learned anything because you can't learn anything in 3 weeks. So people dropped off, and then I think he graduated, and then he moved to Idaho. Mm-hmm. And so the guy who owned the studio was like, okay, we're going to shut this program dance down. Yeah, we're going to shut the program down. And this guy, Rick, was like, you should have Rachel continue to run the dance.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, felt great at the time. And so then the studio owner came to me and was like, look, I don't really care about this dance. It doesn't bring me any money. So you can either pay me like $90 for a night of dancing, which sounds super cheap, but at the time was really expensive, like $30 an hour for studio space.
You're like,
yeah, I was hoping for like $10 or $15.
Right. It's like, where am I gonna get $90? It's like it's like an 80s film already.
Well, and our dances were $3.
Oh my God.
$3.
Wait, $3 for 3 hours of dancing?
Yeah.
Plus maybe a lesson?
Plus a beginner lesson.
Holy crap. This isn't out of the usual for me, but especially for like a college scene or university scene.
Yeah.
That sounds great because people like, $3 for, that's great. And I can get like 3 hours of entertainment. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. But I just learned so many lessons about what it meant to be a scene leader and like how to run a successful dance and what you needed. And so I ended up leaving that studio and renting another space, which was a black box theater. And by this time it was both Brett and me running the dance. They didn't have sound system. They didn't have air conditioning. They didn't have ventilation. They didn't have water. So we had to bring in.
They didn't have electricity. No walls even. I don't even know how they put on the theater.
There's no floor. It's just a dirt floor. So we bought a speaker system. We bought like giant athlete barrels, like those igloos. You know those like giant things of you like fill them up with water that like football players drink out of. You know, they're like ribbed.
You lost me at ribbed.
You had me.
Things. You had me, and then you said ribbed, and my boy mind went. Okay, yes, I do know those. Yes. Water jugs for sure.
Yeah. We had like a bunch of fans we bought, and the first couple weeks were like super great. We had like 80 people at the dance, which felt amazing, and then it was like 40 people, then 30 people, then 20 people, and then it was like 15 people, and then like every once in a while there'd be a special event going on in like Santa Fe or something, and we would sit there. And no one would show up, and we would shut down the dance.
As in a special event, as in like another dance, or
like
just
another
something?
another dance with like live music or something, and everybody would go there, and no one would come.
But
not even our volunteers.
But would you guys stay open even just for a little bit until you were like, nobody's gonna come?
Yeah, we would sit there for like 45 minutes and be like, okay, nobody's showing up. We're shutting it down, and it felt so terrible to be like, our friends don't want to support us.
Right.
B, no one in the community cares that we're running this dance for them.
Yeah.
And C, now we don't get to go participate in the fun that everybody else is having at this other event.
Yeah. But that can always happen, right? I mean, like, there's always scenes are yes, different cities are different numbers, like LA compared to Albuquerque, completely different. And when I say LA, I mean LA, Orange County, almost San Diego as well. There's like a whole different thing. But anyways, when that shit happens, like it sucks so bad. But did you feel like you took it as like a personal like oh man? Yeah. Or did you feel like, well, I understand. Yeah, if I was them, I'd maybe choose that as well.
I felt torn. Like part of me was definitely like, oh man, this is a personal hit to me. Like I'm doing this thing for everybody and nobody appreciates me and the hard work that I'm trying to put into it.
Right.
And at the same time, I was like, well, but I would rather be at this other event with the live music than here in this crappy black box theater.
Yeah. So this is all before the studio opened. Your
it was all before Rhythm.
Oh, okay. Because that makes a difference too, right? Because I mean, when you have a stable place where people can, don't even have to look at on a map anymore, or don't have to look at Google Maps anymore. Like it's there. I know it's where it's gonna be. That's definitely helps, right? Like it doesn't need to be a home base, but it can be your headquarters for whatever you're running.
Yeah, and that's something that LA really has going for it is great venues.
Stability.
Albuquerque has terrible venues. Yeah. Terrible.
Well, I mean, I went to your venue. It was great. Big open space, for sure.
Yeah.
But before that, there was nothing.
Oh, before that, it was nothing. It was like if you wanted to be in a dance studio, it was like super sterile, super small usually, or really expensive. There were a couple large places, but they were all like square dancey kind of places, like very country western, very old white people kind of places.
I mean, I kind of feel like that when I go to like Rusty's in Long Beach, but like
I've never been to Rusty's.
Oh, you gotta go. It's like it's really strange because when I dance in that part, there's like three parts to it. There's one little part that the one big part is where they have the dances.
Yeah.
And it feels like that. It feels like, well, okay, this is very generic. And then you go to the second part, which is a bar.
Okay.
Which looks like a dive bar. There's like shit in the walls and like TV on. They're like, so I mean, the bartenders are characters. They're real strange. And then there's a third part where there's like it's an Elks Lodge. So it's like the elk part of it where they have meetings and stuff. And there's like pictures everywhere. So it has personality, but the place where you dance is like plain white walls, like
Yeah.
chairs that are plastic, you know,
Oh,
like
God.
it's a little bit weird. I mean, like, but that doesn't matter because like if you're there for that dancing thing that you don't care, but if
Yeah.
you're there for the drinking thing and watching people, that's there too.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and like you're there, you want to like go talk to somebody and hang out and just be kind of sort of there, but not dancing. There's, but what do you think makes a better dance venue in that sense? Like when it comes down to like the headquarters, like
For Lindy Hoppers?
Yeah, for Lindy Hoppers, yeah.
I think someplace that feels comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
welcoming, someplace that has a large space.
Yeah.
Because we don't dance in line or in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to have extra space, I think.
You're totally right. I mean, like as you were saying that, I've been to so many different scenes in the States and in parts of the world, and they all have the same things in common, like just big open space, a good dance floor, which is one thing we haven't talked about. But when you said like fans and like water jugs, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much everywhere.
You don't think about that
Yeah.
stuff until you have to organize it,
Exactly.
and it becomes so complicated.
It
and we would
does.
have to we would pack all that stuff up every week
Yeah.
into our car, drive it down there, go buy ice,
Yeah.
take it all out.
Yeah.
And it was like, and on top of that, there was a Salvation Army right across the street, like a soup kitchen. And there's a lot of Albuquerque's like a very shady city. In fact, it was just rated the 5th most violent city in the nation.
Hurrah!
Down from number 2.
That's because you guys left.
Heyo, right? We're troublemakers. So there's like a bunch of homeless people everywhere. And so someone would have to sit at the front desk because we had
Right.
to keep the door
Of
locked
course.
because there were apartments upstairs above us. And so there was the front desk and then a very, very long corridor that you had to walk down to get to the black box theater.
Oh, okay.
And so we had to like drag all this stuff in here. And then whoever was sitting at the front desk was like totally disconnected from the rest of the dance.
course.
And so it was a real sacrifice to sit at the front door as opposed to like when you're on the floor with everybody else and you
Right.
get to like at least watch people or talk to people.
But I mean, like that's all really good. Like I feel like not that part, but I mean the same the parts of like where they're all the same. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
kind of continuing off
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
thought
Oh,
I had
yeah, yeah,
before. Like open space,
Yeah.
good floor,
Yeah.
water jugs because everybody needs water. We all know, like no matter where I go in the world, no matter what, even in the Europes,
People drink water.
people drink more water than they do any other alcohol or a juice or anything else.
Fact. Humans need water. Mind blown. You're welcome.
I mean, we can end the podcast right there. Thank you very much. Like
I know. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Rachel
I
exploding
know.
minds and bodies since 1922.
You can just call me Professor
Oh,
Dahlenburg.
oh God! Careful, you're Jewish or something. But I mean, okay. So again, like open spaces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big fans because we dance. Like dancing is good. You know what's so funny? Every time I go to a dance, it's so hot in here. I'm like, you're dancing.
I know. I think the
You're
same
dancing.
thing.
You're
I
nonstop
think
moving
the
for
same thing.
3 minutes. This is what happens. Are you not used to this?
I know. It amazes me. You know what I think it is people feel uncomfortable. They first of all feel uncomfortable sweating and having other people touch them.
Yeah, of course.
And they feel uncomfortable sweating in their regular clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just insecure about being sweaty.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. Maybe they're just not used to it. Like I had strong opinions of it. It makes me go like, do you not know what you're doing?
But how could I feel like most of the country is at least moderately humid, moderately to severely
Yeah.
humid.
Yeah,
Okay?
Yeah.
So they're going to be sweating
no matter what.
wherever they are.
Yeah. Yeah,
So why wouldn't they be okay with it?
I have no idea. Let's ask them. People out there? No, there's no one in here. Never mind. Okay, but okay. So again, open spaces, good dance floor, water jugs, fans,
This feels like
and then sweating.
this feels like the life of Brian, where they're like they keep
Let's keep
listing
adding
off
more
all the
things.
things that the Romans have actually contributed.
We need roadways, aqueducts, headdresses, the big things
Other
right
than
here.
all of this, what have the Romans done for us?
What has Lindy Hop done for us? But okay, so actually, this breaks back. I don't know why. I don't know how I made the connection, but I just remembered it. Most places that I remember, especially when I first started dancing, rather first started teaching and traveling to different dance scenes on their dime. Weirdos, suckers, got them. But I would go to a lot of college scenes.
Yeah.
And that's where they flourish the most.
Yeah.
For me, when I saw it, I was like, of course this makes sense. Like you said, like $3 gets you in for 3 hours of dancing plus a lesson. And you get to hang out with people and like listen to music and meet somebody who knows how. Yeah.
And on top of that, Albuquerque was one of those scenes where you could go in and be like, hey, I can't afford to pay tonight. And people would be like, no worries.
Yeah.
Come on in.
That's cool. Do you think that helped? I mean, of course not on the monetary side because obviously you're not making the money. But do you think it helped for the scene in the long run? Do you think those people that kind of came in and were like, hey, let me hang out?
No, I don't think it helps. Right. I think people should always pay. And the reason they should pay. The reason that I think that they should pay is because people like it when things have value to them. Mm-hmm. When we would run events that were free, people wouldn't show up because they'd be like, oh, this is garbage. Yeah. I don't like garbage. Who wants garbage? Yeah. But when you put a monetary value to it, people are like, oh, this is worth something. I'm definitely going to come.
I think two different things about that because one is like the iPhones. Remember when they like really jumped up in price? They were like 200 something, and then they jumped up to like 500 or 600 something, and it was like, oh my gosh! But then they do. But I mean, it goes with everything Apple does. Like everybody goes crazy about.
Totally.
But at the same point, like the other thing that I was gonna say, I forgot. But people care for that. Like they'll pay the money to do it. They're like they may like whatever, but they're still opening up their wallets or purses to like pay. And I'm like, okay, well I'm still gonna pay. All right.
Yeah.
No problem. Do what you need to do.
And what we ended up doing when we opened up Rhythm was we raised the price of the dance. We made it $5 or $3 with a valid student ID.
Right,
so they had to show us their ID if we didn't know that they were a student.
That helps too, right? I mean, that's something for the college students.
Yeah, it still gave incentive to the college students who were like, oh, I'm really poor, which a lot of them are.
Right,
There's a reason why the university area is called the student ghetto in Albuquerque. And in a year, we saw our numbers go on average from 30 people a night to 60, 90 people a night. We would get over 100 people sometimes in the summer. Mm-hmm. It made a huge difference.
Yeah. So that's good. Even though you some people would try, you said you guys tried, or was it someone else that tried to say, oh, if you don't have any money, or was it just the Albuquerque scene?
Oh, it was just kind of like everybody in Albuquerque kind of did that.
But even then, so like you raise the price so you can make it for other people, general public, and then the student public that would come in, the students that would come in, you would still add. You'd still have to pay, but it's just a discounted price. That's still good.
I mean, no, if somebody still came and were like, hey, I really wanted to come tonight, but I can't afford to come in. Would it be okay? And we'd be like, sure. Would you mind sitting at the front desk for half an hour and taking money? Right. Go for it. Yeah.
That's
because now they've volunteered their time. It's a short amount of time, and then they get to dance for the rest of the night. That's
such a good thing. Did you guys have to like advertise that, or just people just would ask and you would just say okay?
People would ask.
Okay.
People would ask.
That's
and
good.
it became like a common knowledge thing that people would be like, oh, I can't afford to come in. Is it okay if I come anyway?
I think that's very prevalent in every Lindy Hop scene I've come across. It even got down to a point where I went one time to where was it? Italy, Swing Crash.
Yeah.
Which is Vincenzo and Isabella, and they put on this whole thing, and they had volunteers, but they were because they're both boogie woogie dancers, and they have a long tradition of like helping out the younger dancers, bring them up, but like through hard work and training, and also on top of that, they would volunteer for Swing Crash, so they would help like build tents and build things, and they were all kids. Like one person that I remember for sure was part of that was Felix.
Okay.
Yeah, Felix that's how I met him, because he was volunteering with all these Swedish and Italian and some French boogie woogie kids.
Wow.
And so they would volunteer their time, and they would get all these crazy ass dances with them.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
cool.
like it's such a part of our culture, of Lindy Hop culture, to volunteer. And I think if we have that already ingrained in us, like, oh, okay, that's good. We help each other, we raise each other up, so that way we can all succeed in the end, which is basically have a good dance, have a good time at a dance, have a good event, like all that stuff. Do you think you could have been able to do it without volunteers?
Oh no, we had to have volunteers.
Good.
Every week.
Yeah.
They were essential. And they were essential to our events too. And our volunteers were always true volunteers. They never got into the events for free. They still paid for the event.
Wow.
And they volunteered.
That's really cool.
Now a lot of them got like discounted rates, or if they were working like a ton because they couldn't dance or whatever, then like of course they would get them for free.
But even then, that's such a good thing. It still puts some value to it, like that discounted price. It's
and
like
we would
really
give
good
them
too.
like a free T-shirt, and we would buy them tons of snacks so that no matter where they were throughout the weekend, they could have something to eat. And I would very meticulously schedule everybody throughout the weekend so that they only had to work like an hour or two at a time. So that way, like it wasn't too cumbersome, and then they could still enjoy the event.
Right, definitely. That's always like the trade-off. But so, what scenes have you been to that you feel like weren't maybe the best? Maybe we don't have to call them out, but maybe do you have any stories?
I would say Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Albuquerque, number one.
Your own scene.
My own scene. Oh, geez. And the Hoos. Representing.
Why? Why
Oh,
would you say
so
it's a
many
little weird?
reasons. I would say that for a long time, our scene was almost primarily college students, which was so detrimental to the scene because it was not sustainable. College students are poor.
Yeah.
And they're selfish.
Yeah.
And we were selfish, and we were not always welcoming to people. And it turned away a lot of people.
Yeah,
and it wasn't until we opened Rhythm and gained a few years and graduated from college that we actually were able to start attracting adults and middle-aged people and even senior citizens, and like started getting a better, well-rounded dance. But it took several years.
Like how long? Like put a number around.
5 years.
Around 5 years. So it took 5 years from Black Box Theater, from the Black Box Theater.
Yeah, that was
till you had your studio and you had it up and running, and then you got like a more well-rounded scene.
Yeah, the Black Box Theater was in 2007. The Orpheum Theater.
Yeah.
And then we opened up our studio in 2009, but it didn't really take off until 2011. There was like a whole fiasco. We were like in one location, and then we had to like move to another location, and the second location was the one that really took off.
That area was like really on the up and up, but it's the one you guys lived above, right?
Yeah,
I
we
remember
lived
that.
above it. Yeah,
that was really cool. I mean, that made it so easy.
It was such a dream. I still miss that apartment sometimes.
Yeah, it was
like,
cool.
Oh,
it was a cool apartment. It had lots of room. But do you? No, I had a question, but I'm gonna save that one for another time. But like,
cool.
The well-rounded scene.
Yeah.
The well-rounded scene, like you said, like it took 5 years till you got to a point where it was like really inclusive and really, really great. So do you think it just took time, or did it took more like effort? Like, do you think you could have done it if you had figured out all the things you'd known in 5 years, if you could have done it in one?
No, I don't think so.
You think it just takes time?
Well, okay. In 2007, when I started running the scene, I was 21.
Yeah.
People didn't want to listen to me.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to take classes from a 21-year-old who like were the average student is 50 years old.
They're like wearing tattered jeans, like, hey, everybody, I just woke up. Let's learn some Lindy Hop.
And I know that like a lot of professional instructors have been teaching since they were like 16 or whatever. But I would say that the average age at a Lindy Hop event is still pretty young, right? It's not like 45.
No.
It's like 30.
I would say younger. Like the average age.
25?
I think it's 25. I really do nowadays, at least.
That's young.
Yeah, it's still young.
People did not want to listen to me. They thought I was too young to be running a business. Even when I was 24, running Rhythm, I would get so many comments from men who'd be like, "Don't you think you're a little young to own a business?" And I'd be like, "Don't you think you're a little bit of too much of an asshole to be standing here talking to me?"
Oh, God. Tell me you really did say it to somebody, please.
I didn't.
Oh, but you thought about it.
I thought it.
Okay, good. At least you thought it.
I wasn't brave enough
because
to say it.
That's so stupid. Oh, man. Who cares?
I know, right?
I mean, at this point, let's be honest, like 50 years ago, at that point, you would have had 3 kids and probably like, I don't know, like the flu and polio. Like
the flu and polio.
And still had 4 jobs.
Jesus. Like a superhuman.
Yeah, exactly.
Good God. I think that age and maturity and how I interacted with people made a big difference as well. And that just came with growing up.
Right.
That was not something that I could have gained from knowledge.
I'm trying to think if I know any scene leaders out there in the States or the rest of the world that are really super young. I mean, I can only think of ones that are like either in their mid 30s or older.
Yeah.
Maybe in their 40s.
Well, now, to be fair, those people have been running their scenes for a long time now.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe they started late. Maybe they started earlier, but maybe not. I mean, it's really strange because I feel like a lot of people like started it after somebody else has started it, which doesn't mean anything other than like it took some time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So like much like your story as well, like you kind of started after most other people had left.
Yeah. What kind of happened though was that the scene kind of disintegrated when all those people left.
Yeah.
And so we basically had to rebuild it from the ground up.
Oh, totally.
And that was quite a feat.
I mean, even LA, like for every scene has its ups and downs and weird moments and great moments. And I feel like in the time that you guys have been here in LA, there's been a real difference. I'm not going to say it's you guys, but I'm going to say, I know, it's just a joke.
I would be shocked if it was us. I would be
Ever
shocked.
since you guys have started DJing at Lindy Groove.
We try to contribute in our own ways that we can right now, but...
But I mean, here's the thing I was getting at, because like you were saying, the scene kind of disintegrated. I feel like in LA, like the scene started to go through a low point where people didn't know what to do. All the dancers that have been very dancing a ton and being very recognizable, I would say, the popular ones of the LA scene started to move on to different dances and different parts of their life, like getting married or whatever, or just kind of fading away from the scene, which is fine. People do that, and I have nothing against
life.
that. But then it really created this vacuum where nobody knew what to do with the dance.
Yeah.
Like the only two places that I can think of that was around in like the heyday of like the LA or Hollywood style version, and then now is Rusty's on the west side.
Yep.
And then Lindy Groove as well.
Yeah, Lindy Groove's been around for a long time now.
But they were around the most, and now they have found their own niche. That like Rusty's is like, she's consistent, she's always there. She mostly has bands now, which is really awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And Lindy Groove has always been great because they have so much room. And
that ballroom is so beautiful.
Yeah. And
every time I'm in there, I'm like, I am so grateful that we have this.
And it's a great floor and everything.
Oh,
and like,
it's an awesome floor.
So like they each have their own little niche of like what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
And dancers decide. Now, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the crazy thing about LA though is that the scene is so huge that every single dance you go to is like its own dance scene.
Yeah, it's so true.
So you could go to 5 dances a week and be in 5 different scenes.
I was explaining to someone the other day, like about how we work down here as a giant scene, including Orange County and San Diego. Like I feel like it's sort of like gang wars. Like mobsters.
It
like,
is a little bit.
Like so Rusty has the west side.
Yeah.
Lance and Ben and Sherry have the east side of as in Pasadena. Dax and Sarah have downtown. Steve and Sarah kind of has like the north end. Yeah, exactly. And Shaysha has Orange County, the south side. Nobody talks about memories that much anymore, but they still have that hardcore Whittier.
Yeah.
Whittier for life.
OG.
Seriously, the Inland Empire is not really an empire, but it's there still. And then San Diego Joel and some other people, I can't think of their names, still have the San Diego
friendly
area.
alibis.
Yeah, but everybody is, for the most part, all those people I just named, for the most part, pretty much work together. But you're right, some people only go to specific places, and you'll see the other parts of them. They'll go to wherever the party is going to be. They'll go.
One of the strangest things that I still haven't gotten used to about being in LA is I'll go to a dance, and I cannot tell you how many people have asked me this question. They'll be like, "Oh, so what dance do you usually go to?"
Oh yeah.
And
I've heard that. Yeah.
And I'm always like, whatever dance I feel like.
Yeah,
like I'm not It's not like a club.
So you know what? You know what's funny for me? The other thing is because we're so gigantic.
Yeah.
It used to not be a problem when I first started. Everyone would go everywhere.
Yeah.
dances would be so packed. But the focal point was always Memories down in Orange County, which wasn't huge, but it was the best dance form, best sound system at the time. Like, you couldn't beat it. It was like cushions under your feet, and you could dance all night long. But the thing was, everybody would go everywhere. Disneyland, Palladium, like different places. Everybody, because gas was so cheap.
Yeah.
And as soon as it passed the $2.50 mark, it started to get to $3. I saw the drop off. Like, nobody from LA would come down to Orange County. We wouldn't really go up to LA. Every once in a while, we pack our cars full of people. Like, I can remember, like, me, my cousin Josh, Giselle, and a couple other people, like, packing into a car and like going to Lindy Groove.
Also, the other thing is that everybody's gotten a lot older.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have not gotten
like,
older.
Okay. For example,
perpetually 16 for the rest of my life.
In Albuquerque, there was a time where I was going out dancing or practicing with my friends like 5 or 6 nights a week.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Like, without excluding teaching classes.
Right.
But in LA, like, the closest dance to me is like half hour away. And that feels like a lot of effort to get in my car and drive to Pasadena to go to Lindy Groove, or to take the subway an hour and 10 minutes to Lindy Groove.
We do have a subway here. Everybody.
We do. It's expensive. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Brett takes it every day to work. It's hard. It's someday, like, after a long day of work, I want to come home and like lay on my couch and not go dancing. Yeah.
And I mean, that's the cool option. Like, we're very special out here because every night there's something. Yeah. There still is today. You know what's funny is every day there's something, but only like once a month there's something on the weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Which is really funny.
That's weird.
It's really funny. That's really opposite from everywhere else in the world.
Do you think the average scene has a major dance on the weekend?
I think so, like a Friday or a Saturday. Yeah, I think they do. But we just work differently because, again, it's part of the LA culture that but like is a part of the LA swing scene, because there's so much more extra stuff to do on the weekends. Yeah. Festivals, street fairs, like clubs, shows, like theaters, like whatever.
Parties.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Exactly.
Hello.
Exactly. Like, there's so much more other stuff to do that during the week is the perfect time for everybody else.
Okay, but when I think about other major scenes, like Austin has the Fed on Thursdays. Yeah. DC used to have Jam Cellar on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Seattle.
I don't remember that, actually.
Seattle has
they have a Wednesday, don't they?
Wednesday.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe I'm totally fucking wrong. But you're totally right. All those places have other Thursdays and Wednesdays. I always feel
Century.
Are like
that's the word.
The Century, yeah. That's in Seattle.
Yeah.
Thursdays and Wednesdays have always been very popular in the States.
San Francisco. Yeah. 9:20 on Thursdays.
Exactly. So in the States for sure. Yeah. In the States for sure. Yeah. Like during the weekday, especially Thursdays and Wednesdays, there's always a club somewhere. There's always a dance venue to go to. But that's I mean, each one of them is so different too.
Yeah.
And I don't feel one is better than the other. I feel like one is just a little bit different, but it's also kind of, you can always find the same idea. Like, there's going to be good music. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of space to dance. There's going to be a lot of dancers. But here's the one thing that keeps them going, and I think you're going to agree with me on this.
I'm ready to hear.
Beginner dancers.
Oh, man.
Beginner dancers are
the lifeline. Of the scene.
This is the reason why. I mean, like, this is the reason why you can dance for like a few years and then leave for like a year or two and then come back. Yeah. Because beginner dancers come in and they're like, yeah, I want to learn something new. Yeah, I want to learn what a rock step is, and like throw down money. Like, sure, because they have no preconceived notion of what it actually is going to entail. Like these $7, these $10 that dances are nowadays. Like, and that's totally awesome.
Hit it right on the nose.
For me, I've always talked about on this, like, as a teenager, I was definitely rebellious and I didn't give a shit about any other dancer, whether they were old school, new school, beginner, or whatever. But now, like we were talking about before as well, like when you get older, you figure out, oh, this is how things are run. This is how a business is run. This is how a good community is run.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you depend on the dancers, the established dancers, to talk about it for you, and then hopefully they enjoy it. But so your job is, as a scene leader or like a event organizer or whatever, to get those beginner dancers.
Oh, yeah.
To get them coming in. So
that was a gold mine when we figured that out in Albuquerque. When we started the Rhythm Project. Eureka! When we started the Rhythm Project, which was our class series, there were 4 of us teaching. Mm-hmm. Brett, Kevin Clark, Danny Easley, and myself. And we were sitting down and we were like, okay, how are we going to market these classes to get people to come and then keep taking classes with us like a year and a half down the road? And we were like, let's assume, which was also like probably true, that in Albuquerque, the four of us are the highest or like the most advanced dancers.
Sure.
Then there's like a slightly larger circle of like other advanced dancers. And then outside of that, there's like a slightly larger circle of intermediate dancers. And then outside of that circle is a bunch of beginners. And then outside of that circle is like a ton of people who don't even know about the dance. The rest of the world.
Yeah.
And we are such a small portion of this giant circle, you know? So we have to pull people in who don't even know about swing dancing to grow our scene. That's where the money's at. The money is not with the other regular dancers who come out every week, the advanced dancers, or even the intermediate dancers. It's the people who don't even know about the dance.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like it's, I mean, when you say money, like for sure, the dollar bill, y'all, but also like the money in the sense of community, right? Because like I feel like there was such a separation of that back in the day. Like, oh no, you're a dancer. You don't make money off this. No, how dare you? Except for like in LA, there was definitely a sense of that. But like that's a whole different discussion.
People in Albuquerque are still like that.
Yeah, but I feel like they can go hand in hand.
Yeah,
it's like a restaurant opening up for the first time. It's like, imagine, I was listening to a podcast on the way up actually on something else about actually this movie that I want to see. I think it's something about General Tao. Like where does General Tao come from? It basically it's a documentary on why Chinese food is the way it is here. But I mean, they started talking about like how they codified Chinese food.
Yes, I've listened to this podcast.
Yeah. So like the great thing is that we can kind of get off that is that I forgot what I was saying.
Money and community go hand in hand.
Yes.
I think they can go hand in hand, and I think they should go hand in hand because you cannot run a scene successfully without money. And those are the breaks. Yeah. Like you have to have a sound system. You have to have a place to dance. You have to have water jugs. You have to, like there's so many things that you need to have. If you want to have a live band, if you want to have a costume party for Halloween, if you
need money.
If you want to buy a birthday cake for somebody, you need to have money.
Exactly. So while all these other people that are, like you said before, like the smaller circles may be the loudest because they're closer to you. You can hear them, but you're not paying. You try your best not to pay attention to them, and you look for how to bring in all those extra dancers.
The regulars will come. They will come when the beginners come.
One thing that I've always actually liked about, I mean, I like a lot of things about Lindy Groove, but like one of the things that I liked about it is that when they have their birthdays, like you're allowed to bring in 10 people for free for every birthday.
Who have never been there before.
Been there before. And I think that's genius because I'm like, you get 10 free people and they go, oh, cool. This is here every week. This is amazing. This is great. And then they come in and maybe you get half of those people. Maybe realistically you get 2 of those people, but that's 2 extra people you have coming in for the next probably month or so, or maybe the next year coming in and out like whenever they wanted to. Yeah. But that's more people you add to the scene. That's more money you add to what you can do. That to me, when a scene leader understands that, and when a scene leader understands that the beginners is where they can help the scene grow because they're adding new dancers, and then they can get that money and then they can put it back into the scene, or I mean, like even then keep it for themselves. I mean, keep it for themselves, like make a business out of it. Yeah. I will say Lance and Vicky are the epitome of dance community. I commend them so much. Lindy Groove is humongous. When I say that it was a quiet night this past Thursday, it was like 300 people. Right. You know what I mean? Like totally. That's quiet. Oh, totally quiet night. Yeah. Super quiet night, 300 people. But they are so welcoming. The way they run their dances, they make birthdays such a big deal with the balloons and the cupcakes and everything else. I just like when we moved here, we were at Lindy Groove for 10 minutes before Vicky came running up to us and was like, hi, where are you from? We don't know you. Yeah. And we were like, hey, we just moved here. And she was like, that's so great. Let me introduce you to all of our friends. Yeah, I remember. And she took us around to every single person and was like, this is so-and-so. Now you dance with them. Okay, dance over. This is so-and-so. Now you dance with this person.
And they did that for like a year and a half.
I remember that.
As we like slowly became friends with people.
They even did that to me a few times. I was like, yeah, I introduced them to you. Like, did you forget? That's fine. But you're totally right. Like, I don't know how it is like in Lindy Groove, but at Atomic, on like the Friday night, which is the huge friggin' night, like,
big
dance. My gosh, yeah. From 8 to about 10, that place has so many people. Like, it's insane.
Oh my God.
And probably half of those people are under 21, which is amazing to me because they come in like, you know, they like swing dancing. Yeah, like suspenders, and girls come in with like the flowy dresses.
Oh, they're under 18.
The hats. Yeah.
They're teenagers.
Yeah, they're totally 18.
They got the mommy caravans are outside waiting when I show up.
But it's really cool because like they'll take the classes.
Yeah.
Those I mean, like, seriously, bless the people, those teachers that do those lessons at Atomic or anywhere else in the world on a Friday night or whatever night.
The drop-in lessons.
The drop-in lesson of like fresh intro to swing. Like, let's just get you dancing and learn your 2 moves.
Yeah.
That you can do for the rest of the night and enjoy time with your friends. But I did it once on like a real big Friday night. And I'm not saying I would never start a scene or I would never do that. I think I'm a better teacher than I was back then. This is like 4 or 5 years ago now.
I thought you were going to say, I'm a better teacher than to teach a drop-in lesson.
No.
I'm above that.
No, I was very happy to do it. Like, I was, no problem for sure. But oh my gosh, like, I don't know if there was like a group of like just drunk people or like they were just such motherfuckers to me. And like, I had to say something to them. I just kept like making fun of them because I'm like, if like hecklers, like they were hecklers. God. I mean, we could talk a whole nother podcast about heckling in dance classes.
Oh my
and
God.
how I've learned to shut them down or just be like, yeah, you're totally right. You're awesome. Okay. And then I turn around and I continue with the rest of my class because that's all they want. Anyways, but like with oh man, I just so vividly just this guy in shorts and sandals and like a big ass Nike shirt.
It's always the guy in shorts and sandals.
It always is. And I just call him Nike. It's like Nike over here. Like it was so bad. Like I had to say something to somebody, and I think I wrote something on Facebook once to like a private group, and I was like, blah, 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 blah.
Oh my God.
I just needed to vent. I needed to have other people hear me. That's it.
When was the last time you taught a drop-in lesson, like a beginner drop-in lesson?
Last time I was in town, probably over this last winter.
Oh, really? It was that recently?
Yeah, at Atomic.
Okay.
Which wasn't that one. That was like years ago. But it was like another drop-in lesson where it was like that. And it was I did a beginner series as well. Like
okay.
I would do a couple of them, and they were great. It was like 15, 20 people.
Yeah.
Which was easy.
Perfect,
right? And all I ever try to do with them is make sure they have fun, but like sneak in the idea that like they're learning something.
Yes, that is what I do too.
Yeah. But like I don't try, I mean, you make it fun and fast. Like that's
quick and dirty.
Yeah, quick and dirty. Like that's such a perfect way to put it, because like I'm still trying to teach them something. I think that's still first, actually.
Yeah.
Before fun, but the idea is maybe it's backwards. I think I try to teach them something and sneak in the fun to make sure they actually have the fun. Because
that's interesting.
Because for me, like it. While I understand that they're only there maybe for this one time for these 4 weeks and that's it, they'll never come back. That's fine, but like I still believe like it's still a dance class.
Yeah.
And so I still want them to treat it as a class.
When you're teaching a drop-in lesson, do you talk about technique? Like a fresh beginner class?
Yeah. In the sense of hold your hand like you like somebody. Don't squeeze it. Yeah. Like simple stuff like that. Nothing like let's get stretchy with it. Like let's get let you feel this connection here. Yeah, let's just hold that and work on that for 15 minutes. I'm like, no way. Especially not at Atomic, because that's where I teach most of my beginner stuff, because it's 45-minute classes.
Yeah. I taught years and years and years of drop-in beginner classes. Yeah. And there was a long time where I was like, feel the stretch.
Yeah.
Feel this.
Like,
move
what?
this way. Have this kind of technique. Feel the tension in your arm and in your shoulder.
No
and
tension. I'm not in the
blah,
gym.
Blah, blah. And they were like, and everybody was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I bet for them.
What are you talking about?
I bet for them it was like peanuts.
Yeah. And now I'm just like, hey, everybody, let's touch each other.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is how we do it. Now we're going to dance.
Exactly. I think for like beginner, like the first thing I want them to do is get their feet right.
Yes,
and
me
then,
too.
And that's it. Like if I have like 4 weeks of them, the first lesson is basically making sure they get that whatever rhythm that I want them to get.
Yeah.
And then just moving around together, not necessarily big moves.
When you're teaching that,
Yeah.
do you separate leaders and followers and have
totally.
leaders do footwork and then have followers do footwork?
Yeah.
Or do you have them like all stand in a circle and just like do the pattern right there? Or do you like have them be connected and do the pattern together?
No, I have them separated so they can work on their feet. Work on the rhythm by themselves a little bit. Get really used to it, so that way when they go up together, I don't even tell them how to like hold on to each other just yet. Yeah. I just tell them like hand goes here, and don't even touch the front hand.
Oh,
like like connect in like a closed position.
Yeah.
And like I say like this is what I mean by closed position. I don't even have them touch the front hand because that's just gonna be like extra weirdness for their hands to like be conductors or some weird shit like that. So I just have them move like that, and that's it.
Do you guys do a warm up beforehand? Or
no,
do you just
with
dive
beginners,
right in?
With beginners, no, dive right in. Don't even give them a chance to be like, what are they doing?
Well, at
Just
Lindy Groove, they have a warm up song every week.
Yeah, that's good.
I think
there's lots of different ways to do it. I mean, absolutely.
I think it's helpful, you know,
to get them moving.
Yeah, to get them moving, and then we do like a gajillion triple steps, and so by the time we get into the class, they're like, "Oh, I know what a triple step is."
Yeah. I think
that's kind of cool.
I think for me, like I'd rather like break it down and give them a little bit.
Yeah.
As in like again, we're talking about straight beginners, right?
Yeah. Someone who's never done dancing before.
Yeah. For me, it's like here's a rock step, here's a triple step, and like sort of break it down in a very simple way, and then. One thing I've been trying to do actually is kind of sneak in this little bit of technique, like this idea of how to use a triple step, in the sense of triple step in place. We do the same rhythm, same everything, except we don't move side to side. We just do it right underneath ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And not using our feet to move anywhere, but to make the rhythm. Right. And then the bigger one, which is moving a lot side to side.
Yeah.
So then I say like you're gonna remember that you're not gonna use it right now, but here's the way I use it. In closed position, basic, don't move. Use it underneath yourself. When you're moving around, using tricks or moving together across the floor, you're using the bigger one. So that way they can understand like that they're simple, easy, lead and follow right off the bat.
Yeah.
Is small or big. That's it.
Man, this is fascinating. When you're teaching your drop-in lessons at Atomic, how many people on average would you say is in your class?
Man,
20,
I can't remember.
30?
There's more. There's probably like 50.
Okay.
From what I remember. I mean, I haven't done it in a long time, but when I'm there to see it, like it's usually about 50 people at least. But even then, like if it was a drop-in, like that's that other one I was just saying is like a series.
Like
okay. That's more like I have them for 4 weeks or something like that.
Oh yeah, I just want like
the drop-in.
You got your 45-minute class.
The drop-in 45-minute class is here's your 6 counts. Cool. That's all you're ever going to do with your feet. And now here's a tuck turn. And now we come back together. And here's a tuck turn and a pass. And then we come back together. And that's it.
You do 6 count.
Oh, yeah.
See, we used to do 6 count at Rhythm. But at Lindy Groove, we always do 8 count.
To begin with?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why?
I think there's a couple reasons why.
I mean, you teach them swing out or you teach them just like back and forth triples?
Yeah, we teach like side by side. We go forward, backwards, and then we do like the 3 and 4 motion of like leaders get in front and then leaders come back, and then we do a circle all enclosed. And then maybe if we get to it, a send out. I don't usually teach send outs because that's like a weird place to end.
Yeah.
It's been surprisingly effective for me. I can't necessarily speak for the other instructors. But I spend very little time talking, and I just repeat.
Especially, I definitely agree with that. Repeat yourself and have them do it. Just give them one little thing and then have them do it again.
Yeah,
one little thing and then have them do it again.
Yeah.
Like also don't forget to pat on the back if they have done something good. Like I strongly believe in this, and other people are always like, what? I do not like if I'm teaching or I'm teaching with somebody for them to say, hey, everybody, you're doing really good. Now let's try this. Like as in like, why are you saying try this again? Like if they didn't do good, don't say they did good. You don't have to say that they did bad, but you could just say like that was a good try. Let's do this and then try it again. And if they do better, then yes, of course, like positive reinforcement when it actually makes more sense.
You know what else has really been working for me is making them high five each other before they rotate.
Oh yeah,
every
totally.
single time.
Oh,
They
yeah.
always high five.
I mean-
high five and rotate.
I mean, I think that's the key to any good community. If people can high five together,
High five
they
and
can
rotate.
dance together.
Well, what's funny is that when I started doing that at Lindy Groove, I don't know if other instructors had been doing that before, and people started doing it more often. And Lance and Vicky were like, high five and rotate.
Yeah.
Whoa. And I was like, yeah.
No matter what, they feel affirmed somehow, whether they
Yeah,
did good,
like-
good together or not, and then they move on to the next person.
Even if it's like, okay, we totally crashed and burned, but hey, we
Yeah.
did it together and we're learning.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, I've been teaching kids a lot lately, and they freaking love the high five.
Oh, the
If
high
they,
five.
if they forget it, they run back and they high five and they go back to the next
Adults
person.
love the high five too, though. That's what's so awesome about
Yeah.
it.
But you know what's fun. You know what's funny. Like, so for me, drop in. I just want to get them dancing.
Yeah.
6 count for me is the best way to do it. But for you, you're saying the 8 count you've been trying
Well,
a lot
I mean,
lately.
that's what has. So I think what was happening before was everybody was kind of teaching the drop-in beginner class differently at Lindy Groove.
Right.
And so we decided to codify it and make it the exact same thing. Like you teach the same 3 moves every single class. And that way people can like have a more solid foundation. So if they want to move on to Ben and Sherry's series classes, then they have a better base
Right,
as
right,
opposed to being like, oh, well, if you're with this couple, you might learn this. Or if you're with this couple, you might learn this.
Right. So it's not so much to get them dancing. It's so much to get them into the class system that they
Get
have
them
there.
prepared for the classes if they
Right.
decide to take them.
Right on. That's cool. But I think I think we're wrapping up with this stuff right here. Is what do you think makes a good scene?
First and foremost,
Actually, let me change that. What do you think makes a good scene leader? Which is kind of like together, but really puts it on somebody.
first and foremost, again, I think that a good scene leader needs to be a cheerleader for the scene.
Agreed.
Energizer. They need to be encouraging. They need to bring the energy. They need to bring the organization. It's a lot to handle. It's
It is
tiring.
for sure.
And it can
But,
easily be a full-time job.
like, even as you were listing those things off, I was thinking about event organizers, or not event organizers, but scene leaders that I know
Yeah.
about. They completely do that.
Yeah.
Whether it's going on the microphone and introducing themselves and saying like, "We're gonna have a snowball," or "Go grab somebody you've never met before," or like, "Hi, we're here every week." Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. You know, like
Even
stuff
just
like that.
being at being the person who runs the front desk and saying hello to every single
Yeah.
person, which was something that I tried to do at Rhythm. Like
Right.
if I was at the desk, I said hello to every single person. I said goodbye to every single person who left. Like
Right.
goodbye, thank you for coming.
Right.
We have to do
That's
that at my job too. Every
Yeah.
single person who comes in, we welcome
That's
them.
a
When they
very
leave, we
important
say
thing.
goodbye.
Sorry, like little side thing. Like
Yeah.
when I teach in Spain, their culture in Spain is to always say hello and goodbye.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, even if you walk into like a little quickie mart,
Oh.
like they say "hola" and that's it, and then
Yeah.
and bye. Like they say it no matter what, and it doesn't sound like the best like genuine hello you've ever
Yeah,
heard.
they're like hola.
But that's it. They're just
Yeah.
hi.
They
Or,
do
"Hey."
that in Argentina too.
Yeah, but I think that's something in the swing scene that we could do a little more of. Just hello and goodbye.
Yeah. Instead of just like ignoring people or being
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't feel like saying
Or-
hi, or I don't know that person, or that person's weird,
Or just say hey.
yeah, hey,
And
how's
maybe
it
just the
going?
smallest thing. I think that's totally good. But
Acknowledging somebody, it makes them feel more welcomed.
exactly. So
For sure.
so scene leader equals cheerleader. Kind of like go team. We're all a
Yeah.
team. Go team. Go dancing. Let's do this together.
Do you think a scene leader also needs to be the best dancer in the scene?
That's a really good question. I think it's such a loaded question because I don't think it's a yes or a no. Like I feel like I'm leaning towards no, but
Yeah.
I mean, like the thing is they just need to be clear.
Yeah.
Whether they prefer a style of Lindy Hop, they can do that. They just need to be clear for those because if they're a scene leader, then they're probably teaching something.
Yeah.
You know, they're with the beginners. It's like just be clear. Don't be muddled. Don't like if you have a shtick, do the shtick. Like beginners will love that stuff if it's presented to them very clearly.
If you own it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you own it, just own it. Like it doesn't matter. I think it's very good to have your like group of students, but know that one day, just like every other like like baby in this world, like they leave the nest, like they leave the home. So just be ready for them to leave, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like just be good enough to be like, I knew who you were when you were a beginner, and you're awesome now, and like thanks for being a part of the scene. Like I think that's something that we have going a little bit better nowadays in LA. That we like, I started learning there, but now I dance over here, and I dance over here, and I dance over there. Like I like when people grow through the scene.
Yeah.
And you can see them from their first day to where they are now. I
think for a lot of scenes, the most advanced dancer just kind of ends up becoming the scene leader because there's nobody else to run the scene.
For sure.
But I think like, there's a lot of cases in LA, for example, where it's not necessarily the best dancer who's running the best dances. Yeah. But if they're not the best dancer, then they've got strong dancers to teach the classes.
Yeah, of course. Of course. There's so many different ways to do it, especially here because we have so many people coming to the dances. Yeah, you're gonna need the extra manpower, especially in the classes. Like Lindy Groove and Atomic does the same thing.
They have so many volunteers.
But I'm just saying that in the classes. In Atomic and Lindy Groove both, they teach classes, 2 different classes in the same room at the same time.
Let me tell you what, we don't have microphones. Yeah. We don't have music. Yeah. And when I'm teaching those beginner classes, many times there's like 150 people in that class. Right. It's massive, and I'm screaming the entire time, which also lends to me just talking less.
Right, exactly. I agree.
It's exhausting to do that.
It is. But I mean, the whole idea of scene leading is going to be exhausting. Yeah. And I think if anybody out there is ready and willing to do it, then just know that it's going to be exhausting, and it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of effort. But if you are ready to be like a cheerleader and like give up 6 hours of one day a week
at least,
of like from setup to tear down and everything else in the middle. Like if you're willing to do that, then go for it, understanding that, and also try your best to be a real person, but also encouraging real person. That's what I think is no matter who they are, they're like I know scene leaders that are like kind of like dicks to me, but like they're like great to their students, and I'm that's great. But to be fair, also I also kind of encourage the kind of like being real with me, be like, come on, take off that mask and give me they're like, fuck you, let's go drink or something. Yeah.
I think it's also important to be appreciative of your scene leaders. Like there's so much work that's being done behind the scenes that you don't see them doing, like getting flyers and hiring graphic designers and toting the water along and like anything else, dealing with venues and leases and money and all that other stuff. Like there were many months in the beginning and even towards the end before we moved here where Brett and I were shaking in our boots about paying rent. Right, we were scared, but we would always be like, hey, things are going great for us. Things are always going great for us. And I think being positive and supportive to people helped people be supportive to us in return.
I mean, that's the best thing. I feel like that's innate in our partner dancing. Yeah. That I'm gonna be good to you, so you be good to me, and just in a lead follow or just dancer way,
or just human way.
Yeah, but it's like that's how I see it. It's like I'm gonna be good to you, you're gonna be golden rule type thing. And then of course it's supposed to be like that in everyday life. Yeah. But sometimes it's a little bit hard to do that. In the dance, it's real. I feel like now it's really easy. And then so if we take that concept to like a lot of different parts of the dance, as in like the scene building or being a part of a scene or an event organizer or like different aspects of it. It's just like if I'm good to you guys, then you should, hopefully I can get it in return. Like karma. Karma.
I think a lot of people, it's easy for them to complain like, oh, it's too hot in here. Why don't they turn the air conditioner on? Or, right. Oh, I don't like this music. Why don't they play better music? Or, oh, I don't like the way this is set up, or I don't like this, or I don't like this part of the dance. But I would encourage those people to become active. Yeah. Instead of just sitting on the side complaining. Like if you don't like the temperature of the room, at least go to the organizer and be like, hey, is there anything we can do about the temperature in this room? And if they're like, hey, actually, the air conditioner's on full blast, I'm so sorry, but this is just what it is.
I mean, but even with the music stuff, like, that's what I hear all the time. And I'm like,
oh, I don't like this music.
DJ?
Like, learn to DJ then.
I mean,
Like,
grab your favorite stuff, get an hour set together, and ask the organizer, be like, hey,
even
can
half
I
an
do
hour,
yeah,
a sampler
yeah,
set.
exactly.
We would, anytime we had a new DJ at Rhythm, we would give them, like, depending on who it was and how like experienced they were in their dancing, we would give them between like 15 minutes and then half an hour to do a sample set, see how they did, give them a little feedback, and to see if they liked it and see if the dancers liked their music, and then we would book them again, and then we would book them again, or we wouldn't book them again.
Yeah, and then they would tell their friends, hey, I'm gonna be DJing at this place, like let's go do it, like all these things like. We have to remember it's still a community, and a community means everybody has to play their part and everyone has to contribute, whether it be from the simplest part as a beginner going, or like a person that's never danced before going to a dance. They're now a part of that community because they've contributed, as in whether it be money or just being there and being a partner with
being
somebody
a body
else,
in the room,
being a body in the room, and then from to the like the very top where like you have people like Lance and Vicky, or Ben and Sherry, or Dax and Sarah, or Steven Sayer, or Rusty Frank, or Shaysha Marvin. Like, you have all those people that are like at the very top of it, like kind of helping and being kind of providers.
Yeah.
It's like, I have this venue. Yes, it's going to be theirs. That's totally fine. But they're like looking for people to help contribute towards it. So if you're looking to be a scene leader, not organize your night, that's something a little bit different. But if you're looking to be a scene leader, then you have to start contributing in some other way than how you're doing it right now. Hopefully there's another level of that. As in, like, if you're just going out and dancing, and maybe you're like, I'm going out dancing, I want to play some music. Like you said, ask for a half an hour.
Yeah.
But then if you're a DJ on top of that, maybe you're like, okay, well, maybe I want to learn how to teach a little bit. Then you go up there and maybe you ask them to be a partner.
Yeah.
As in, like, hey, can we do this together? Or like, hey, can you teach me a few things? Because obviously someone has been doing it longer than you have.
Have you ever taught a DJing class?
No, I haven't.
I thought about teaching one in Albuquerque, and I never did.
I don't know. I feel like they're kind of shitty. Like, my suggestion is play what you like.
Yeah.
Make sure it has a clear beat, and make sure you can hear it over a sound system really well. It's not too scratchy, because like some people play like too scratchy stuff. It's like you can barely hear a beat. And yeah, like it's just, I mean, like I just saw like the Get Down on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
And there's a bunch of DJs on that and stuff, and they put like, whole sets together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's what any DJ should do. Like, whether it be from swing, EDM, or like old school hip hop, or like nowadays, like whatever. Like, you should be able to put a half an hour together and make it feel good.
What if somebody is really into like Michael Bublé, for example? That's like what they're honestly into, and that's what they want to play during their set.
That's up to the event organizer or person that's in charge of that night. Yeah. To be like, hey, yeah, but you should also have some little rules, some guidelines. Be like, hey, it's only big band. Hey, it's only new stuff. Whether you can only play stuff. Not neo swing, but I'm just saying like stuff that's made nowadays that you can hear correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like, hey, we're only playing Charleston tonight, or hey, we're playing to a Balboa crowd tonight, or yeah, hey, we're gonna only do like loungy stuff like that. So Frank Sinatra to Michael Bublé and all this stuff in the middle. Or even being like,
hey, it looks like that song isn't hitting. Maybe you could mix it up a little.
Yeah, everybody take note of what Rachel just said, because that is fucking golden right there.
Heyo.
Yeah. So now let's move on. I think we've talked about a lot of that scene building stuff. Let's move on to the question of the day.
The question of the day.
Questions. We have
question
so many
of the
questions.
day comes from Sam Maxwell. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah. He wrote a long question, so I want you to read the whole thing.
I'm going to read the whole question. It's like a little paragraph here. He says, when I think about partnered mechanics in Lindy, I tend to think in terms of two balls of energy, like binary stars, and the vectors that act on them. Example, the push and pull of stretch and compression, rotation through turns, torque from contra-body movement, etc. How do you conceptualize the relationship between lead and follow, and what kind of effect do you think this might have on the creative side of your dancing? I love this question. But also, like, I'm not a scientist.
I mean,
What do
we had
binary stars do? Like the gravitational pull between them?
I didn't know stars comes in ones and zeros.
I didn't either.
Binary.
I don't even know what a binary star is.
I mean,
I have a degree in English.
I have no idea. I think I get what he's getting at. It's like that's how he sees it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's really great. I feel maybe there's different levels of it, but for me, it's like there's two levels right now that I can see.
Okay.
One level is how do I understand it that is just clearly for me?
Yeah.
And then kind of my teacher brain is like, here's the other end. Like maybe that part isn't gonna be for the general public because that won't make any sense to Joe Schmo person whoever is in front of me. But then I have a whole other set that I know that can fit that. Yeah. It's like metaphors, right? Like how do I feel about technique, or how do I feel when I'm dancing with somebody? And that always happens. Nikki always jokes and saying like sometimes when I pull my little stories out from the other side and I try to tell it to people, I'd be like sideways nod like a puppy hearing a noise for the first time. They're like, "What the hell was that?" And Nikki just goes, "What Mikey really meant was dance really good, please." you know, it's like I'm like, you guys, it's like karma. You know, when you're in Downward Dog and you feel like all that stretch and it's like, so good, and it's fun, so good, and Nikki goes, just be nice to your partner. That's it. And everybody goes, oh, okay, got it. I mean, there's so many, but like,
so tell me how you think about it. Tell me how you think about it, and then tell me how you teach it.
One side for me personally, the way I feel about dancing is we already kind of talked about it in general sense of like I'm being good to you, you're being good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed you a video earlier of me when I'm not being good to my partner.
Yeah.
And it's changed a lot since then.
We just watched this video from ALHC 2004.
Yeah.
It was it a Strictly or a Jack and Jill?
No, it's a Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill. And first of all, the way Mikey is dressed is hilarious. He's wearing this like really baggy black shirt and these baggy black pants. And his shirt is so big for him that on his right hand, he's actually like holding on to his sleeve because it's so long it like falls into his palm. Super great.
So
but he's just
detail.
like jerking his follow around. And I was actually so like,
hardcore.
I feel bad for your follow right now.
Oh, me too.
Also, quick side note, in the middle of the dance, he ripped off his blazer and like swung it and then threw it into the crowd. It was the most golden moment of my life.
I had a Magic Mike moment.
It was better than the underwear moment last week. Better than the underwear moment.
Before Magic Mike, there was a Magic Mikey. What can I say? Just ripping off clothes and throwing it at the crowd.
It was so...
Oh, my God.
It was so not sexy.
I mean, you're not kidding.
So
you're not
bad.
joking. You're not joking. That's the thing.
I'm not. It was truly terrible. It was truly bad.
Okay, so
we've all been there.
So that's kind of like a general way of looking at it. It's like be nice, but
scratching the surface.
Yeah. For me, when I'm dancing, now that I'm a little bit older and can see it through my whole lifetime and up to now, I put it all together in this kind of sense of like, I get to choose who I want to be at that moment, depending on how I'm feeling, depending on who I've been in the past, who I want to be in the future. But I get to be that person that I am right now to that music with another person. Like I get to like transcend myself sort of like in a way. Like I can be much more than I am, and I can be less than I am. Like a character, yes, sort of like volume.
Okay.
Like EQing it, like raising it up and being super loud or being really, really quiet and in my dance. Like,
yeah,
that's the way I feel now. But like, it's changed so many times throughout the times that I've danced. Like I can't even focus on one anymore unless I'm thinking about a specific part.
Yeah.
You know, like in a swing out, I'm thinking, I've said it so many times. I don't know why in the last couple of weeks, like the Nike swoosh.
Yeah.
Like I can, if like I'm trying to teach this like version of a swing out that like moves through 4 instead of like stopping on 4, you know? And when I feel it correctly, like I see the Nike whoosh, like there's a part, there's like a little skinny part right here and there's a big fat part and then it goes whoosh, and it's like straight. So like, that's the way I feel about that. I've said it a couple times. I don't know why that stands out in my head, But right now, like I just feel like it gives me a chance to kind of EQ my life when I dance, every dance, like whether I be a little loud, a little more bass, a little more everything, you know, stuff like that. And then in class, like I have to focus on something specific for something to pop in my head.
Something a little bit more concrete.
Yeah, for something to pop in my head though, like to actually think about it. Like right now, I can't really think of it other than that swing out being like a Nike swoosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of for me. What is it for you?
I think of it a lot like a conversation. Just talking with somebody. I will say that improv has really changed how I look at partner dancing. And something that I've learned is that in improv, you always want to yes and. So what that means is you never want to contradict your partner on stage. You never want to start an argument on stage because it becomes negative, and nobody wants to watch that. It's so much more fun when people agree with each other.
Yeah.
And so, like, if my partner starts with a swing out, like starts leading a swing out, I want to yes and by continuing that swing out.
Right.
If they transition into partner Charleston, I want to yes and by also transitioning into partner Charleston. If I want to suddenly get really quiet and like really down and dirty in my footwork, I want my partner to yes and match something similar.
Right.
You don't want to go like, you don't want your partner to be like, okay, I'm going to lead you into a tuck turn. You're going to be like, hell no, I'm not doing a tuck turn.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing something else. I'm
going to run away. I'll be right back.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
That doesn't make a dance with a partner.
Work within the confines of what the dance is.
Yeah, you want to work with your partner. And it's like, we do it all the time in conversation. We're doing it right now. Like, I'm saying something, and you're responding by being like, yeah, and this is an example that I have.
Sure.
Or, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
This is how I feel
I
about
mean,
it.
like when we went to that improv show the other day, like a couple months ago, last month rather.
Yeah.
Not months ago. Last month.
Years
ago. That one improv show. It was in the birth of improv.
Another
really.
time. In the Triassic period.
The two things that always like struck me really a lot, and then looking back at other improv things that I had seen before, I was like, oh, that is so true. Like when people don't get each other, and that's going to happen on the dance floor so much, like they don't really communicate the best. It's kind of like, we said it earlier today. I was like, they kind of ask a question. It's like, what did you mean by that? Like, is this sure what you're talking about? Like that way it's like clarification really.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, what the other thing was that we saw in that show that I loved so much was like, some person on stage would talk about like the one time I went to the store or something like, and people would like deep dive. And they would change into that. Like, what does that mean? Like, let's go into that. Let's go further in. There's a funny thing in there.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that's how it is. The communication. It's like you say something to me and I'm like, that's cool. Like, how about this? Okay, cool. And then you're like, yeah. And then what about this? And I'm like, yeah, let's deep dive into this. Like, let's really go into this movement.
Totally. I have a great example of that. Yesterday I was at a practice and there was a scene in which two people, like this one dude was a dinosaur working in an office, and the girl was like she was like the office manager, and it was like the dinosaur's first day at work. But what never became clear, what she never asked was, are you actually a dinosaur? And if you are, how did you get this job? Yeah. Or are you a human pretending to be a dinosaur? And if that's the case, then why on earth are you pretending to be a dinosaur?
I love that so much.
The teacher at the end of the scene was like, I would have loved to have known what you actually like. Did you think you were actually a dinosaur? And the guy was like, yeah, I thought I was actually a dinosaur. And she was like, awesome, love it, but explore why. Why? And if it's not clear, ask why. And I think we can do that in dancing too. Like maybe if you're leading something a little intricate and your follow doesn't understand, you can ask why by doing it again, or like, do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yeah, completely. Like as a leader, I think sometimes it's a little bit easier. I was like, okay, you did something on that one move. Like as we're dancing, I'm not saying this out loud, but you did this one thing on like a pass. Like I'm gonna do another pass to see if you do it again.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a little easier sometimes as a leader, but sometimes as a follow, it's just like, okay, I did something that last time. Yeah. Like I'm gonna wait until you do it again, and I'm gonna try to do it again. Like I think like it's that, and it's up to like a good leader or a good follower to really pay attention to that. Yeah. Non-verbally being like, there was something there. Like taking everything. If you're not watching and you're worried about the next move, then you're never gonna see these moments.
You have to live in the moment. You have to live in the moment.
So some people have that innate inside them, like they can listen really good. People are good listeners. Other times it has to be learned. I know for me it was learned.
I'm learning it still.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what's gonna make you feel in those transcendent moments that like you were actually having a conversation with somebody without even talking.
Yeah. As a follow, sometimes after the dance, I'll be like, hey, you did this one move, and I actually wasn't sure how to respond to it. Like, what were you trying to lead?
Oh.
What were you trying to get at?
Yeah.
And a lot of times the leader will be like, oh, I don't even know. Like, whatever you did was totally fine. It was cool. And then I can be like, oh, cool. But in the moment, I'm like, what is going on? I don't know what to do.
You know what's funny? Is I know you've never asked me that, but I know you wanted to ask me that lots of times.
And it's because I just threw a twist tie at my knee. It's because it's like the same kind of move that you do all the time where we're like moving back and forth. We're like side by side, we're moving back and forth, and you like change your speed really quickly, and I can never follow it. And I feel like but you do it in this like very ambiguous way. Like you're not like strong leading me through it. It's like a hey, we're chill, but now we're changing our speed. And I'm like, well, I just didn't get that at all. Like, how am I supposed to follow this? I just don't understand. It's like every time. So
everybody in the comments after hearing this, come to our Facebook page or our individual pages, or if you have an idea, if you have an idea of what I'm actually doing when I do that, please let me know, because I have no fucking clue. I mean, obvi. No, actually, to be 100% fair and honest with you right now, that is the thing I need to work on.
Well, that was something that I thought about too. I was like, maybe Mikey just doesn't know that he's
I know
being
I am.
ambiguous.
I know I'm being too ambiguous, but I don't like the options for me right now. For now, that's not the only options. I know there's many other options I haven't discovered yet. But like for me, it's like light or strong. Like
oh,
you know.
Believe you me, I am on the same page in my dancing.
So it's always a struggle. But like honestly, I know. Actually, I learned another option. Actually, is that usually when I do that, I'm actually communicating that to you too late. Yeah, and that's where the ambiguous, like, where what happened? We were so connected, and now there's nothing, and then there's like this strong connection.
Yeah.
So it's actually for me. I know the timing, but for some reason I can't like really communicate it to you on the time I want to.
Yeah.
It happens like 2 beats later, and I'm like, fuck.
Man,
every time.
What a frustration it is to know what your weaknesses are. Yeah. But you can't necessarily do anything about them in that moment.
Oh no, I can do something. I can do something.
It's just not. It's not the thing that I want to.
Yeah, it's like I pushed you there. Now I push, like the Russian guy in your class a long time ago. It's like when you go and I go.
Do you remember the first time that we ever danced at Lindy Fest back in like, I don't know, maybe it was like 2010, 2011?
No.
It was the end of the weekend. I think it was like Sunday night. I asked you to dance, and it was a pretty swift song. I would say like maybe 210 beats per minute.
Uh-huh.
And our swing outs felt really good. But then everything else was like a royal disaster. And I left the dance being like, well, our swing outs felt really good. So I don't know what happened.
So here's the thing.
Do you not remember?
No,
that?
I don't remember the thing. But here's the thing. It's like after watching that ALHC clip and like talking about it with you, I feel like I know my weaknesses. Yeah. But the thing is, sometimes I don't care. Yeah. Like, cause I mean, not in the sense of like I care for your well-being. Yeah. I'm not gonna try anything that goes too far. But the thing is I have this like strong like feeling in me, and I don't know how exactly to say it out loud or to communicate that. Yeah. So then a lot of the times I'm just gonna move myself there. Yeah. And then in that moment I'm like, okay, how am I gonna move myself there? Think of the weirdest way possible, like with my leg up behind me, like, you know, like
triple backflip.
Yeah, triple backflip, like, you know, stuff like that. So like that's like me in a nutshell. It's like, how am I gonna move there? But how can I do it in a very like difficult way and using more movement than I need?
I know. I shall only perform at stage right.
Only that way, and that's
Only
it.
stage
Ever,
right.
ever. So that's gonna bring us to the end of this long ass podcast. This time, we tried to keep it in an hour. Fuck if we can ever keep this under an hour. But
we just
who cares?
have too many great things.
Yeah,
to
I
say.
mean, I really don't care. I'm always like, Rachel, this week is gonna be the week. We keep it under an hour, and she's like, yeah, fuck off.
I'm like, good luck to
Yeah.
you.
So again, thank you guys for listening. If you want to hit us up on the Facebooks, we have our Facebook, The Brightside with Mikey and Rachel, and of course our own individual ones. Before we get started, usually we put out a post and we say, hey, give us some questions. We have built up a lot of questions, and we still want to keep hearing more
Hey,
from
friend,
you guys. So,
what's your bright side?
oh my God, I completely fucked
The
it up.
whole point of
I
this
completely
podcast,
fucked it up.
this moment right here.
Wow. The bright side is, for this week, keep shit short and under an hour.
I like it. If I said that my bright side was watching that video of you ripping off your jacket, would you hate me even
No,
more?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
After our podcast last week where I said that the bright side for me was knowing that Mikey tucks his shirt into his underwear, he was not happy with me.
No, it wasn't that. It was that, like, I took it to a different mood, and then you took it up to a different one. And I was like, God damn it, I thought we were going to keep it together. It was hilarious, but
I'm a pretty funny person. Don't know if you knew that.
No,
but,
I didn't know that. I just met you. I thought your name was Laura the whole time.
Funny guy, Lord Key. We look the same. We look the same.
What's your bright? I mean, that was your bright side?
I think it
That was
is.
your bright side. I like it. You did laugh uncontrollably when you saw that.
It's just so awesome. I love that you can be so honest about being like, yeah, I was a shitty dancer. And yeah, I still do like really terrible things in my dancing, and I'm trying to work on it. Like that, what a great honest thing to say.
I mean, that's
good
true, though.
self-assessment. I like that. We need more of that.
We need more of that. If you know you're a shitty dancer, please let us know on the Facebooks, on the Twitters, on the whatevers.
I still feel like a terrible dancer most of the time. Struggle is so real.
And with that, we'll bring this podcast to an end.
Bye. Oh,
that
sorry.
was just you. No, that was just
I'm
you.
so sorry.
No, I left just
Bye.
for you. Ready?
Okay.
One more time. Ready?
Bye.